Live sports. Local content. Student-run broadcasts. MCG, Oski News, and KIIC bring you the Indians Network. Presented by Craig Ford.
Hello again, Indians fans. Welcome to another edition of the Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. I'm Jamie Brockman, and let's take a look back at a pretty successful week in Oskaloosa sports. And we'll start out with football on Friday night, of course. Not the night the Indians were hoping for as they took their first road trip of 2019. Up against a pretty tough ranked Washington team, and came up short 62-12, a game that was dominated by Fairfield. Oskaloosa now 1-1 on the season, and they hit the road again this coming Friday night when they travel to Fairfield, a game you can watch right here on the Indians Network on Friday night. And then they have two tough games, Week 4 and 5, as they get into district play. At home, Week 4 will be hosting Norwalk, and then homecoming, Week 5, hosting Grinnell. Oski volleyball had a successful week. On Tuesday, they opened up Little Hawkeye Conference play with a road sweep win over Grinnell, 25-18, 25-8, 25-8. 27 kills in the match for Oskaloosa, led by Faith Durande with 12, Jessica Schesselman with 7. Very good serving night for Oskaloosa as well. They had 14 team ace serves led by Jolie Yang with 9. So Oskaloosa now 2-1 on the season and 1-0 in Little Hawkeye Conference. Also a competitive day Saturday at the Cedar Rapids tournament against some tough competition. They went 2-2 in pool play, beating Davenport North and Cedar Rapids Kennedy in 3 sets. They then lost to the number 2 ranked team in Class 4A, Cedar Rapids Xavier, in the final pool play match, and then fell in 3 sets to Marion in bracket play. But overall, a good day for Oskaloosa volleyball on Saturday at the Cedar Rapids tournament. JV volleyball went 2-1 at the Pella Quad, and the freshman volleyball squad won the Mount Pleasant tournament over the weekend. And all 3 squads will be in action on Tuesday night at home, another Little Hawkeye Conference match as they host Dallas Center Grimes. You can see the varsity match Tuesday night on the Indians Network from the Oskaloosa Gym. Looking at girls swimming, they were at Grinnell last Tuesday, and a couple of swimmers had a very good day. Sydney Slocum took 27 seconds off of her 500 freestyle time and also had a good 200 free. Mackenzie Hicks took 19 seconds off of her 500 freestyle time as well. Very impressive. And then Sienna Ollinger, Shannon Linder, Ashley Smith all set PRs in their respective events as well. So overall, a great day for the Oskaloosa girls swimmers at Grinnell last Tuesday as well. And then cross country has had a couple of meets since we spoke last. They opened up the season last Tuesday at Williamsburg. Boys were 3rd, led by Patrick Durande, who finished 6th, and Braden Van Kampen with a 7th place finish. Girls were 6th, led by Addie Carter in 18th place, and Sage Adam in 21st. Saturday, the cross-country teams competed at the Pella Invitational held at Central College, and girls and boys both finished 10th out of 18 team fields. And it was, again, Patrick Durande leading the boys. He was 23rd out of 271 runners. And the girls, led by Sage Adam, Addie Carter, and Abby Lumsdom, who were 36th, 38th, and 43rd, respectively. Cross-country teams return to action this coming week, Thursday, at Fairfield. That gets you up to date on results over the past week for Oskaloosa sporting events. And coming up here on this week's edition of the Indians Corner, we're going to talk Indian sports. We'll talk with girls swimming coach Mackenzie Kaufman. We'll talk to volleyball coach Jennifer Comfort. We'll talk to Oskaloosa football assistant coach and offensive coordinator Brett Dowd, and we'll have a few athletes from those respective teams joining us today as well. That's all coming up on this week's edition of the Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee here on the Indians Network.
This is more than a bundle. It's more than a combo deal. It's not just stuff. This is your home, your car. And you want to give them the protection they deserve with home and auto insurance. State Farm agents get it. It's why they're here.
Call State Farm agent Wendell Campbell at 641-673-4462.
We are back on the Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. I'm Jamie Brockman. We're going to talk Oskaloosa football as we have assistant coach and offensive coordinator Brett Dowd joining us. We're also going to talk to a couple of the Indian football players that are impact players on the team. Senior Isaac Schultz and sophomore quarterback Will Schultz will be joining us here coming up shortly after we visit with Coach Dowd. Well, Coach, going to Washington Friday night, week 2, first road trip of the game. Washington was a top 10 ranked team, and I think we knew they were going to be tough. I felt going in like we were pretty evenly matched, but boy, I tell you what, Washington, they came to play Friday night. It was a tough night.
Yeah, we knew Washington would be tough, but I felt good about our chances of winning that game going into the game. And honestly, I would still feel good about us going and playing them again and winning at some point. Now, we need to grow and get a lot better. But it was kind of a snowball effect. I felt like we were competing. We scored a big touchdown there to take to like 15-7, 15-6, and then a few bad things happened, and the wheels just kind of fell off, and it just, it's one of those things where you say, well, it can't get worse, and then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So if people are looking at that score and they say, oh, a 50-point game, I think you're going to be extremely misled. We feel very good about where we're at. We did not see that coming, but we also spent about 2 hours in film with the kids Saturday, and we got kids that are bought in, so we're going to grow, and they're going to hit the field Monday, and we're going to get better.
62-12 was the final score at Washington, and Demons scored on 7 of their 9 possessions in the game, including their first 8. Several long drives for touchdowns, and there were, I guess the easiest way to say it is every time we seemed to get a little momentum, we shot ourselves in the foot with a penalty and went back the other way. And first off, we're down 15-0 there in the first quarter, late first quarter, and Will breaks off a 62-yard touchdown run. Impressive run, yeah. And it comes back on offsetting personal foul penalties. So I didn't see it. I was watching ahead where the ball was. But what did you see, and what was the explanation to you about that call?
What we were told was that they were just going at it. Apparently, Holmberg got taken to the ground, and he was on his back trying to get up, and they said that they were both getting after each other. I didn't see it happen. I didn't see it on film. From what it sounds like from Kale's perspective, it shouldn't have been a call that we should have had to bear so much pain from. But it is what it is, and that's what we try to strive to our kids is, you're not going to be able to control everything. We had a lot of flags go against us Friday night, and just suck it up and play through it.
And they did. I mean, that call came back, and it could have deflated the team. But you continued that drive into the second quarter, and then early in the second quarter, Will connects with Tyler Miller on a 27-yard score. So you got the touchdown anyway, just took a few extra minutes. But you had to be happy to see them continue to fight after that could have got them down.
Sure, that was a 4th and 2. It was a big play by Will and by our offense to execute there. That's a play-action pass that we've been working on a lot and that we're going to be really good at moving forward. So. Not that just play, but that sort of play action. It was a big play. We stepped up, we scored, and we did what we needed to do at that point in the game.
And that was a 10-play, 79-yard drive by the Indians, and it pulled them within 15-6. Now, the 2-point conversion, I've watched it over and over and over, and I don't know how Will wasn't across the line. I mean, it looked to me like he was 3 feet into the end zone, but they said no 2-point conversion.
I would agree with you, and it was just, again, that was the night. That was our game Friday night. It's just kind of, it seemed like every call was going against us, and that's not the reason we lost the game by any means, but it did influence the final score. So
Washington came back with another impressive drive to go up 22-6, and then our next possession, once again, a lot of penalty flags on the field. 3 different penalties, I think, on the next possession that resulted in a punt, and again wiped out a pretty big play where Will had connected with Tyler for a good gain. So penalties just continued to hurt us.
It was the theme of the night. There were a lot of them, and looking back on them, usually half of those calls are right. And that was about the case. Half of them we look back on film and we said, yeah, that was a good call. We can't do that. We clipped someone. Some of the holding calls were a little phantom. But that's high school football. I mean, that's football in general. You might go to a game in high school football and have really good refs, and sometimes you show up and you wonder if they even know what they're doing. So you got to keep your mouth shut as a coach so you're teaching your team the right way to respond in those situations.
So they went down and scored on that next possession. Then they're up 29-6, and Oski still fighting and not giving up. And really big play, the brother-to-brother connection. Will hits older brother Isaac, 58-yard touchdown. Nice catch and run by Isaac after for the score, and got you within 29-12. That got a little excitement back on the sideline.
Sure. I mean, that's going to be a big hookup for us all year. Will to Ike. You're going to see him come on here and talk here in a little bit. So they're a big part of our offense, and that was a big momentum swing for us to get things going. And our offense, I felt like we were able to move the ball. We just weren't able to sustain. Whether it be we shooting ourselves in the foot or was it a phantom call or whatnot, that was the way the night was going. I don't really know how to explain it.
Washington put together another good drive. They went up 35-12. We throw an interception, and then if it could go right, it did for Washington. If it could go wrong, it did for Oskaloosa in this game. And here's a prime example. We defended this pass about as good as we could. Actually tipped it twice in the air, right into the hands of an open receiver, Ethan Hunt, about 5 yards in front, and he had clean green all the way into the end zone. 88-yard touchdown, one-play strike, and again, we defended it well.
Yeah, I mean, when the ball was in the air, when Reed was hawking it, I was like, oh, that's pick six. And then after you saw him tip it, and it was like, this is like bad news bears. It was unbelievable how much momentum they were carrying and how things just kept going their way and kept going their way. So that's what do you do? I mean, all we can do from that is learn from it. And we did learn a lot when we watched film. It wasn't the officials. A lot of times it was us. Defensively, if we weren't lining up correctly, communicating, offensively, we had breakdowns in execution. We had some bonehead penalties. So we're going to make sure that we focus in and grind this whole week. We're not down by any count. I mean, you know us. We've been 1-1 the last 4 years. We never lost by 50 points. We've lost some bad games though. So we're going to be ready to respond.
So you're down 42-12 at halftime. Coming back 30 points down on the road is not an easy task, obviously, but what was the discussion at halftime? What were you telling the kids to focus on in the second half?
It was calm. I mean, we could go in and we could be ticked off and chew butt, that you can see that, but we don't have a team that we feel comfortable in doing that. It's a little different. We're younger, so we expect some of those things to happen, so we know we need to go in and coach them up, and we need to, if you yell at someone and tell them what they should be doing, they're not going to learn. So our goal moving forward is we're going to make sure, and then at halftime we go in and we talk about, all right, this is what's happening on film. How can we correct this? What do we need to do? This is what we're seeing. This is how we're going to attack. Our mentality going back out of halftime is, all right, we're going to chip away. And we need to get a few stops, and offensively we need to chip away.
And, the momentum continued for Washington. Penalties continued to hurt us in the second half. Had a bad snap on a punt that gave them the ball at the 7-yard line. And I think their first two touchdowns second half were 13 and 7-yard drives, short fields. So, and it just continued. Final score is 62-12. Washington gets the win. So a couple things I want to ask you about, Coach, is one change this year that has been implemented in the rules is the limitation of hitting and live hitting and full pads and things in practice. And we've got a young team. We've got a lot of kids that are getting their first varsity experience. And when you go up against a physical team like Washington is, and they are, how bad do you think that affected us? I mean, as far as the fact that we're limited on how much we can actually go live and hit and feel the hits, bounce off of them and things like that, work on tackling?
It is definitely a different game, and it makes me sound like I'm that old guy that used to say that to us. Oh, you guys are so weak, It is a different game. We don't do a lot of live stuff, and I understand the importance of that because I do want to keep the game safe, and I want to keep the game of football around. Yep. If you're telling me, okay, we need to get rid of football, or let's bend the rules a little bit to make it a little more safe, let's bend the rules because football is a great game. That was just a case of Washington. We know is physical, and they did have a little bit more of a veteran group there, and you could tell. I mean, they took it to us in certain spots. Kick returns, we were getting smoked all over the place. So it's just, and that's an eye-opener for us too. Sometimes, you heard Coach Comfort talk about it. You just got to be tough, and you got to grind, and you got to want it. You got to want it. So that's what it comes down to.
So I imagine the focus this week on practice, as you said, is kind of put this one behind us, move ahead, focus on Fairfield, and probably going back to some of the basics again as far as blocking and tackling and trying to eliminate these penalties that seem to hurt us.
Yeah, I know. I talked to Coach Jenkins defensively, and he's saying, the biggest thing is we need to align correctly. We need to communicate. So a lot of those basic fundamentals of defense, you have to be able to communicate. You go watch an NFL game right now, you got guys talking to each other crazy. You watch our defense Friday night, nobody's talking. And that's why we miss a line so many times, and then they have a wide open pass down the sideline. So that's a big thing defensively that Coach Jenkins talked about. Offensively, we took plays off. We had a lot of guys that when they're involved in the play, they were going really hard, and then other guys that were taking plays off. And that's good. We need to see that because sometimes you need to see yourself doing that. I've gotten called out before in film many a times. Dow, what are you doing here? That's a good question. Once you see yourself do it, it's a reminder that, hey, I need to get after it every single play.
Absolutely. A couple more things about the offense. It was good to see Tyler Miller more involved in week 2, and he ran the ball hard all night long. And again, a couple of his big plays won't show up in the stats because of penalties, but he carried 9 times for 49 yards, caught 6 passes, 84 yards, and a touchdown. So obviously your focus was let's get T. Miller in the open field and let his feet do the work a little more.
Sure, and I feel like PC, going into that game, they were so focused on Tyler. And that's why Will had like 27 carries, because their eyes were so much on Tyler that we had to bring another guy, and we led Tyler a lot. Now that Will kind of established himself as a runner, teams aren't going to be able to do that because we can be dynamic with how we use those guys. So it was just easier with the way Washington was defending us to get the ball to Tyler. It wasn't that we wanted to go away from Tyler in game 1. It was really PC was taking him away from us, and we felt like if we tried to go to him, we were going to get like maybe 2-3 yards, where if we push Will, we could pop some bigger plays. So
Will carried 11 times for 36 yards. Again, a couple big plays that don't show up in the stats because of penalties. 12 of 25 through the air, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Isaac Schultz, 2 catches, 60 yards, and the touchdown. So, the weapons that you expect to be there are still there, and I imagine we're just going to continue to grow that as we go.
Yeah, I was very happy with Will in our passing game. He's moving along. That was only week 2, and we threw some stuff at him there where he was making some reads sitting in the pocket, which at 6 foot or less is tough to do. It's tough to see over those big guys, and he made some good reads there, felt confident and comfortable, and he threw the ball very well. Week 1, you'd probably look at it and be like, oh, he made some bad passes. Well, he threw some really good passes too in week 1. So I feel like we're moving along fine. We're going to get ready for Fairfield, and we're going to take a step in the right direction.
Wyatt Creer led the defense with 11 tackles on the night. So let's move on now, and let's talk about Fairfield. That's your opponent this Friday. It's on the road. It's your last non-district game. So
second to last.
Second to last non-district?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right, because you only have 4 district games.
Yep.
So at Fairfield Friday night, and Fairfield appears to be a little bit down this year, but obviously, anybody's beatable. You found that out Friday night. So what do you expect from Fairfield, and what is your focus this week?
Our focus is us. I mean, that's a Coach Jenkins mentality, but it really is. We could go out and play like we did last Friday, and it could be a really good game, or we could get blown out. So I don't really care about who we're playing. Would I rather play a team right now that is 1-1, 0-2 versus going to play a Solon or something like that? Absolutely, just because I want us to be able to take a step in the right direction. Nothing against Fairfield, but we're not even going to focus on them. We're going to go back and watch film. I already told the guys, I wrote a list of things on my whiteboard that when we come back and watch film on Saturday, these are the 5 main things as receivers we're looking at. How well did we do on these 5 things? O-line, combo blocks, up to backers, and our screen game. How well did we do on that? So it's really going to be about us and making sure we tighten up some of those little things that hurt us last Friday.
All right. Well, Coach, good luck to you on Friday at Fairfield. I know the fans will be there, and we'll all be supporting the Indians, and hopefully we can bounce back big on Friday night.
Yeah, stick with us. We'll keep grinding, and we're going to get turned around after that last week.
All right, sounds good. That is Oskaloosa assistant coach and offensive coordinator Brett Dowd joining us here on Indians Corner. And as we continue focusing here on Oskaloosa football on the Indians Corner, we've got a couple of the players on the field, impact players here on the offensive side. We've got Will Schultz, the sophomore quarterback, and his older brother Isaac, the senior. And he, of course, plays receiver and a little bit of defense in the cornerback and D-back as well. So, guys, first of all, thanks for joining us. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Obviously, a rough night for everybody on Friday. Not the results we were hoping for, but you've had a couple of days now to kind of relax and move on from that. So, how are you guys feeling now as we get ready to move into a new week?
I'm looking forward to this new week and us fixing the little things that we messed up on, and I think we'll be all right.
All right. And Will?
I'm confident in us that we'll move forward and be better than last week.
All right. Well, let's talk about the offense. As I said to Coach Dowd, really, and he said it too, I thought the offense did move the ball well. Overall, I think the offense played pretty well. Unfortunately, the defense just could not handle this Washington physicality. But how do you feel about the offensive performance on Friday? Let's start with Will. He's the quarterback. He runs the offense.
I felt like we did fine. penalties were holding us back, but we were moving the ball good, and yeah, we saw good things.
So last week against PC, you have a 78-yard run called back on a penalty. Friday night at Washington, you have a 62-yard touchdown called back on a penalty. So tell me, you put all that effort in, you get a big run like that, and then you're walking back the other way, and you got to do it again. First of all, how does that affect your mindset, and what do you say to the guys in the huddle before the next snap?
My mindset is like, do it again, try to ignore the fact that it got called back, and I just tell the guys that we need to sharpen up, stop making mistakes like that.
Definitely. Now, you're a sophomore. This is your first, you've had 2 varsity games now. How much of a difference is it from playing freshman football to jumping at the varsity level like you have this year?
The atmosphere is huge, and I was nervous at first, but I'm settled in now. I'm good.
And obviously, you've established yourself as a big running quarterback, and we're going to see a lot of yards on the ground by number 11 this year. But passing-wise, I know that's a focus of you and Coach Dowd this year. It does need improvement, but I think you're coming along well. It looks like you're pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I've been trying to work on it for this whole summer because my arm's not been that strong, and I'm just trying to improve.
So, is passing something that you've done at a youth level and up till now, or did they use you more primarily as a runner?
They use me more as a runner because that's what I am, I guess.
Okay. Well, in week 1, you hit 6 different receivers, so you had to be excited about that. You connected with several again on Friday night, so you've got a lot of different targets and weapons out there to look for. And that doesn't limit you. I mean, it doesn't limit who you're not looking at one guy all the time that they can double up on. So you got to feel pretty good about the offensive weapons we have when you come up to the line.
Yeah, we have a lot of weapons, and they're very good to put in use. We can use it to go up against any defense pretty much.
Definitely. Well, Isaac, you're a senior on the team. You obviously were a big part of the team last year, second leading receiver, and coming into your senior year, tell me what your mindset is, knowing that this is my final go-around as an Oskaloosa football player.
Just work hard and do as much as I can to help the team, if that's on offense or defense, and just work hard.
Your primary role is offense, obviously, as a receiver, but when Mason Ford went down there with an injury in week 1, you came in and all of a sudden we're in there on defense. So is that something that you've had a lot of chance to practice and work on, or is your primary focus offense?
My primary is offense, but this last week, because Ford was hurt, I got a lot of reps more on defense to give Ford some breaks.
Yeah. And is that something you enjoy? I mean, do you like being on the field defense, or would you rather just be out there catching passes?
I like both. It's fun.
Okay.
It's a little different than.
All right. Well, how fun is it for the two of you to get a chance to play together? I mean, Isaac's a senior, so this is his last chance, and Will's got 3 full years. But to get a chance to play together at the varsity level on Friday nights and connect on passes, each of you, tell me what that's like for you.
I think it's fun. I mean, we've had a couple, we get in some arguments every now and then, but just being brothers, I don't know, it's fun.
I think it's fun, but I'm not trying to target him more than any other receiver because people will think different things, and I just try to keep it balanced, but it's fun.
Yeah. So and then you bring your cousin in the mix. Keaton Flaherty transfers over this year from Pella Christian. So now you've got 3 of you, and I know the 3 of you have grown up together. You've competed against each other for years. So Will, that affects you a little more than it does Isaac because he's a quarterback. So we really came in with a three-guy battle for quarterback. You, your cousin, and then we also had Reed in there. So tell me what that was like going through the preseason, battling against those other 2 and trying to win the starting job.
We're all pretty balanced, and we have different things that make us special, but it was hard for Coach Dowd to make a decision because we're also balanced and close to each other.
Yeah, and I know as we look forward after football into the winter with basketball, all 3 of you, including Keaton, will be talking about a lot, I'm sure, this winter on the basketball floor from what I'm hearing. But it's just got to be fun. You got this family atmosphere out there, and you and Keaton are going to be able to play together for 3 more years. You're both sophomores. So did you guys have influence in bringing him over to Oski?
Yeah, we've been. Our whole family's been harping at their family to move back to Oski when they moved to Pella, and then they finally budged in, and his dad was missing Oski a little bit, helped him move it.
So
back.
for those that don't know, of course, the 1996 championship team, Joe Flaherty was the quarterback, and that is Keaton's dad and your uncle. And so they do have a big history with Oskaloosa football. So it's good to see the Flaherty name back in, and I look forward to see what he can do the next 3 years. So, guys, like I said, you've had 2 days now to kind of rest, heal up, whatever, after the Washington game. Now you go ahead, you got Fairfield on the road game Friday. So what is your main focus this coming week to go and hopefully get back on track with a W?
I'm just in practice, just work on fixing our little mistakes that we did, and I made a couple mistakes, and I know what I need to fix and get better at, so just work on those.
We got to rep all the offensive stuff more and just keep pounding it in so we can't forget what we're doing.
Okay, and you still feel pretty good overall about your chances this year to make a run in the district and into the postseason?
Yeah, we have a great core, and our seniors we're quiet, but like we lead by example for the most part, and we're going to use that, and we're going to work on as a senior group to lift up the juniors and sophomores and just be better leaders.
Speaking of the seniors, I know this is a pretty tight group of seniors. I mean, you guys have been playing sports together for years, all the way down to the early youth levels. So now, for all of you to get a chance to step up, and you're the leaders, has to be a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, it's different. We all of us together are great friends, so it's pretty easy for all of us to get along and lead well together.
Absolutely. Well, guys, good luck to you the rest of the season. I do see a lot of good things still to come for Oski football, so good luck to you as you go through the season, and let's get some more wins.
Thanks.
That is Isaac Schultz. He's a senior receiver on the football team, and Will Schultz. He is the quarterback, sophomore for Oskaloosa football. More to come here on the Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee after this.
Hy-Vee's Choice Reserve and Prime Reserve beef, arguably the best beef in America. Their quality and flavor are undisputable, undeniable. Let's get ready to be unstoppable! And the winner by unanimous decision, Hy-Vee!
We are back on the Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. And we're going to talk Oskaloosa cross country now, girls and boys programs, as we're pleased to be joined by Coach Mike Comfort. Good to see you again, Coach.
Yeah, good to see you.
Last time we talked to you was a couple of weeks ago, previewing the team and the season, and now you've got a couple meets under your belt. And started out season opener last Tuesday at Williamsburg, and a couple good performances. Let's start on the boys' side, a third-place team finish.
Yeah, you know, whenever you get into meets, you just never know where you're at until you run one. And I felt good about the team. We had a really good week of practice the week before that, but 12-team meet, third place. Patrick Durande and Braid Van Campen were 6th and 7th, so they looked really strong. And then our depth really showed. We probably have 10 guys that could be in our varsity, and so that really helps in practice pushing each other. Some good competition, so getting third I was pretty impressed with.
And then the girls had a 6th-place finish, and had a couple girls there, one in the top 20, one just outside.
Yeah, our girls pretty much, you have Sage Adam, Addie Carter, Abby Lumsden. Those three are kind of a trio that kind of just lead the team. They alternate kind of back and forth, and so they're doing a great job of challenging each other. Most importantly, showing the rest of this team how to race, how to train, how to compete.
So a lot of times in sports we talk about, especially at the beginning of the season, how the preseason you're just out there like in football, you're hitting each other and so forth. And with you guys and girls, you're just out there running in practice. And now to go and actually compete against other runners and see how you do. What was the feeling of the team coming out of that? Did you see a difference in them coming back to practice?
It's a lot of confidence. Anybody can run, anybody can train. It's about how are we going to compete, and that's what I wanted to know. What kind of the heart was, what kind of the guts were of this team. And they were very confident coming out of that, and that led us into Pella on Saturday. And at Williamsburg, I felt like we got out really strong. We kind of faded a little bit in the middle mile and in the end. And so our goal going into Pella on Saturday was let's have a better second mile. Let's really just compete and be gutsy. And that led to our great performances on Saturday, and I was really happy with them.
Talking with Mike Comfort, he's the head girls and boys cross-country coach at Oskaloosa High School. Saturday, you were at the Pella Invitational, as you mentioned. That's at Central College. That is not an easy course, and there's a lot of teams there. So tell me about your overall performance that day.
Yeah, so it's a tough course, but it's a district meet course. So pretty much every year there's a good chance we're going to go there. A lot of top teams there, a lot of teams that could compete for the state title. So 18 teams there, both teams were 10th. Our boys were without Braden, who was 6, and so to get 10th without him was pretty good. Patrick Durante had an absolutely outstanding race, was 23rd out of 270, broke 18 for the first time, and I think he really learned how good he can be, because I really feel like a lot of us operate at 80 to 90%. We think that's our 100%, but it's not, and we have to learn to tap into that 10%. He learned how good he can be and how much pain he can endure. And so, but really the whole team in general, I mean, William Leonard and Caden Gerard really responded well without Braden being there. A lot of improvements, and our second mile was a lot better. We really fought and competed hard in the middle part of that race. And the girls as well. Again, that three-headed monster, Sage, Addie, and Abby, did a phenomenal job, but Paven Canute and Haley Westerkamp and Brooke Allen at the back end of our team really ran great races, took a huge step forward, and that's going to help our team as we try to continue to move up in the conference and district standings.
So now Thursday this week you'll be at Fairfield for another meet, and between now and then, what is your focus?
So we'll sit down on Monday and Tuesday and we'll talk with the team. This year I've really put a lot on the team in terms of what do you want to accomplish at this meet, what goals do you have, and they've really run with that. And so we'll see what they say in terms of what their goals are to finishing. But we want to continue to build upon running good first miles, competing hard in the second. We just want to tap into that 10% that I talked about and learn how to finish. I just want to see us compete. And it's easy to focus on, hey, I want to run a faster time. But to run a faster time, you can't just say, I want to run faster. We have to learn how to compete and be tough. And so I want to see that on Thursday. Let's continue to get tougher. Let's continue to get better. We could do really well at this meet if we do that, but in past years we've had good meets and we come back and kind of have a rough one. So our goal with Strive, which is our theme, is to continue to keep it going, and so I'll be happy if we can do that.
Back to your two meets last week. First of all, Tuesday at Williamsburg. I mean, you're coming off a holiday weekend there with a 3-day break, so you probably never quite know what to expect coming out of something like that, going straight into a meet. Yeah,
we worked them pretty hard the week before, so I told them, I gave them what they do over the weekend, which is pretty easy. And so I felt it would actually help us this year, because like I said, it hit them pretty hard. They got to go away from the practice mentally, and then they could get thrown into a meet. So you sometimes worry about that, but this team, the work ethic of this team, the positive attitude, the culture of this team is just something we haven't had in a couple years. And so I completely trust them that they're going to be fine.
And then speaking of Saturday, you mentioned that course is a district meet course that you'll probably go to in the postseason. Yeah. Not only that, but you got a good early season look at a lot of the teams that you're going to be competing against that time of year.
Yeah, Pella will probably, obviously they'll host that district. They're going to be there. Nevadas was a good team that's there. Bondurant, Mount Pleasant's always been good. Norwalk, a conference school. Gilbert, we probably won't run against that district, but they're always in the mix for the winning state, and so. Great competition brings the best out of you, and that's why I think one of the reasons why we improved so well. And so I want to expose our team to the toughest competitions throughout the year so that when we get to districts, we feel confident in our preparation.
Absolutely. So as we said, next up is Thursday at Fairfield, and then what's looming ahead of that?
The Tuesday after that, the 17th, is our home meet at Edmondson Park. The high school races will start at 5, middle school at 4:15. It's a great spectator course. You can stand in one spot and see kids come by 3, 4, 5 times. And it's an extremely challenging course. And so to me, it's what cross country is all about, our course. And you just get to see what you're made of, how tough you really are. All
right. Well, Coach, congratulations on successful results from the first couple of meets. And we look forward to continuing to watch the girls and boys grow as they go through the year.
Yeah, great talking to you. I look forward to see how we finish up.
All right, that is Mike Comfort. He's the head girls and boys cross-country coach at Oskaloosa High School, talking about the Indians' results here over the past week. We'll have more to come here on the Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee, coming up.
Oskaloosa. It's our community, and we're thankful to be a part of it. Telling its stories, sharing its smiles. We're building community, keeping you informed, giving you a voice, letting you know you're never alone during the victories and the losses, happiness and pain. For tomorrow's a new day, and we'll be there, working for you, ready to tell your story. That's our commitment. It's what we do, now and in the future. Because we're always on. We're Oskaloosa News.
Welcome back to Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. I'm Jamie Brockman. We're going to talk Oskaloosa volleyball now as we visit again with Oskaloosa head coach Jennifer Comfort. Coach, good to see you again.
Yes, thanks for having me.
And tell you what, it's a pretty good week for Oskaloosa volleyball. Started Tuesday with a conference win at Grinnell.
It sure was. Yeah, that was a fun win to get a first Little Hockey Conference victory under your belt. So, the girls went over there and had a great 3 sets. We were a little slow starting out in our first set. We didn't practice on Monday with it being Labor Day. And then we got it rolling, and the next 2 sets kept them to 8 points each.
So swept Bondurant Farrar last Thursday, and then swept Grinnell. So, 2 3-set matches there back to back. And then let's talk about some of the performances. 27 kills in those 3 sets. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it really was. We really tried to make sure that we were scoring our points and not just allowing the other team to just make errors for us. So making sure that we took control of the match.
Faith Durande led with 12. Jessica Sesselman had 7. Mary Nelson with 3. And then the setter, Jolie Yang, obviously was moving the ball around well and setting it well. 22 assists. And, when you've got 22 kills between 3 different hitters, that's pretty good.
Right, and that's what we're looking for, having a balanced offense, finding attackers that we can go to, getting side outs, getting termination on the ball, whatever it might be. And, girls are very selfish with their attempts, and I just love that. And Jolie likes to mix it around and making sure that she's finding the hot hand. I'm really encouraging her to look at matchups, getting the hot hitter against maybe a shorter blocker or weaker blocker, and making the right decisions there. So, she put that into practice, and we were in system a lot, and we were able to run what we needed to.
Stat that really stood out to me in the stats that he sent was the serving. 14 ace serves. Jolie had 9.
Yep.
I mean, that's obviously a focus in practice, is serving.
It really is. Again, that's what we want to be, is a very tough serving team, keeping the other team out of system. We did that a lot against Grinnell, and one thing that if you look at, we had very low digs. We had very few digs. It's because they were constantly out of system and sitting as free balls. So when they don't attack at you, you can't get any digs. So yes, our defense may have looked low, but it's because there was not much to defend. So we were really focusing on getting them out of system with that. Jolie's also our first server, so she gets the most attempts at the line when we get back around into the 7 of those rotations. Also, we have a great front line at that time when she is in. So they're just very effective in scoring points for us.
Well, from there, you went to Cedar Rapids on Saturday. You knew that was going to be a tough day. I mean,
Yep.
You were going to face some really tough competition, including the number 2 team in Class 4A, Cedar Rapids Xavier. But, I guess to be the best, you got to beat the best. In order for you to win a state championship,
Yep.
you have to beat a team like Xavier. So, first of all, talk about just the competition level that you face and how you felt your girls matched up.
The competition was very high yesterday. The girls played outstanding. I was very proud of them all day. All day long, they fought every single set. We played 3 set matches. We won 2 of those and lost 1 of them against Marion. But the way that our girls fought in every situation, whether we were up, whether we were down, whether we were tied, whatever it was, they just competed every single ball, and I was very proud of them for that.
Definitely. Beat Davenport North and Cedar Rapids Kennedy, both 3 sets in pool play, and then lost to number 2 4A Cedar Rapids Xavier in the final pool match. So tell me about that match. I mean, you came up short, but this is the best there is.
Right, and I was glad that we were able to play them because it's a team that we may see in the regional final situation. It's a team we may see at a first round of state type situation. So to get that opportunity to see a team like that was great for our girls. They do have hitters that are 6 inches taller than our girls. They have a 6'5" outside. They have a 6'4" middle. You just can't coach size like that. So our girls competed every single point. They were aggressive from the serving line, getting them out of system as much as possible. We were moving the ball around. They really tried to camp on our outsides, and we said we have other players than our outsides, and we made them pay for that, especially in that second set. Our first set, we couldn't get out of a couple serve receives, so we got stuck a couple times, but it wasn't for lack of trying. We were fighting every single point. The girls were positive and responded to every situation. But the big thing that I saw was just a fight and a belief in that. If you had been in our huddle after that game, you would have thought we probably won the match, but we did in our mind because we did what we needed to do against teams like that, and we know what it takes. And this is the second weekend of the season. If we can continue to do what we did against them and continue to grow and build our skills, we'll be just fine.
And that's a good mindset to have. I'm sure you're excited to see the girls react like that, even though it was a loss, because you got to take little things like that and build off of them to build a successful program.
Absolutely. You have to see where you win, and then you have to see what you do need to improve on to beat those teams. And the girls are understanding that. It's not just, oh, can you beat, a couple teams in your conference? Can you beat the other team on the other side of the net at practice? It's day in and day out focusing on beating those top teams.
So let's talk about the younger squads a little bit too. Your JV was successful, 2-1 at the Pella Quad. Freshman backed up championship from a year ago, won the Mount Pleasant tournament. So you got to be excited to see those results too.
Absolutely, and we do have 28 girls in our program. Yes, there are 8 that play for the most part on the varsity squad, but we have 20 other girls that are putting in work day in and day out, and it's paying off. They're showing that they are right there and they are developing their skills as well. They're understanding that they need to put in the time, the effort, the competitiveness to be ready to play at the next level, and they're showing that they can do that.
And not only that, but that makes your practices more competitive
too,
which just makes you better in match.
Absolutely, yep. It really helps that the girls that are playing and starting varsity full-time are showing the younger girls how to do it. They're showing them the right way to play. They're showing them the right way to compete, the right way to do skills, and that's playing off down the line. And that's really just, as a coach, I'm just so proud of them to see that.
Absolutely. Well, all 3 squads will be in action at home on Tuesday night of this week against DCG, Dallas Center Grimes. This will actually air on MCG after that match, but that match will be live on the Indians Network on Tuesday evening, and looking forward to seeing your girls in action again against DCG. So it's another conference match, chance to go 2-0 in the conference. What do you know about DCG from last year, and what do they bring this year?
They I believe won our conference tournament. I think they qualified for state. I don't quite remember for sure. But I just know that they graduated a couple girls that had some really good talent. They always rebuild. They always have some strong athletes that work really hard. They are ranked somewhere in the top 10. Again, I don't know. Doesn't really matter because we're going to go play against them no matter what. So I'm just really looking forward to it. It's going to be solid volleyball all the way around. It's going to be a competitive match. It's not going to be 3-0, I bet. It's going to be 4 or 5 sets to win this. So I'm really looking forward to it. Our girls are really excited for it. They're coming in with a positive, competitive mindset. I'm really looking forward to seeing them play.
And at this point in the season, you got a couple of sweeps in, so it'd be nice to get pushed a little bit, wouldn't it? Maybe have a 4 or 5 set match.
Absolutely. And that's what I felt this weekend, that, even though we lost a couple sets here and there, we didn't lose the match when we lost that set. The girls responded and understood that it was going to take more than just that loss to either win or lose. They knew that there was a whole lot more volleyball to play. And I think that's going to be the theme going into Tuesday night, is that we're just going to have to fight tooth and nail until the very last whistle sounds. Regardless if we win or lose, we're going to have to compete every single point.
So then from Tuesday, what does the rest of the week have in store?
Well, so we go to Southeast Polk on Saturday, and it doesn't get any easier. We play Ankeny Centennial, we play Waukee, and we play Des Moines Roosevelt in our pool. Wow. So, yes, it's not going to get any easier. It's going to be just as competitive, but, I'm really looking forward to that, to just see these girls play at that level. They are, going into those situations heads up, eyes up, and just competing. So that's really fun to see.
As a coach, that's all you can ask.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, Coach, congratulations on a successful week. Good luck against DCG, and we'll hope things go well and you take some good things out of Southeast Polk.
Thanks. Me too.
That is Jennifer Comfort, head volleyball coach, joining us here on Indians Corner. We'll talk to a couple of the Oskaloosa volleyball players. Joined now by a couple of the Oskaloosa volleyball players on the varsity squad. And to my left here is Mary Nelson, and next to her is Emily Richmond. And well, first of all, we'll start with Mary Nelson. Mary, welcome back. It is so nice to see you in action on the floor after missing pretty much all of last year. How does this feel to you to actually get back out there and be able to compete?
It's really fun. I'm just really grateful that I get to finish my last season.
How hard was it for you to sit out last year and watch and just support your teammates?
Yeah, it was pretty hard. I tried to just do whatever I could for the team, though.
A lot of rehab that you did over the past year, I'm sure, a lot of hard work. So it's good to see that pay off and get you back out there on the floor. Tell you what, this team this year, there's a lot of returners from a year ago, a lot of chemistry. Tell me about the overall feel of the team, the chemistry that you have together.
Yeah, we've all played for a really long time together. We know each other pretty well, and we all know how we work, and it's really fun to get the chance to play all together. We all get to play. And
we've talked to Coach Comfort about this several times, but the triple threat, if you will, of the hitters, it's so nice to be able to mix that ball up and all of you get a chance, and they can't really zone in on any one of you.
Yeah, that's really fun.
So, all right, and you're obviously one of the hitters. You had 3 kills in the sweep win over Grinnell. You had a good some good stats against Bondurant Farrar and also at Cedar Rapids. So, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? You mentioned it's your last year, your senior year. So how do you want to go out? What do you want to see the team do this year?
I think it'd be really awesome if we could go to state. This is a really special team. I've never really been on a team like this, so I think we can accomplish some big things.
Okay, and what is it that makes it so special?
We just all believe in each other, and we're all there for each other. We all get along really well. There's no drama, and it's just really fun to play together.
And you mentioned you've been playing for together a long time. So you come up through the youth programs, things like that, AAU travel teams.
Yeah, we all played swing. Some of them longer than me. I joined a little late, but yeah, they've all played for a really long time together. So.
Okay. Well, let's bring Emily Richmond in a little bit. She's another returner. She led the team in blocks a year ago, and is that kind of your main role on the team? Do you think? Are you more of just kind of a net presence and blocker up front?
Yeah, that's my main focus is to close the block and try to block it. And even if I can't get a block, me closing it helps the defenders know where. Because if I'm there, then they can't hit right where I'm at, so they'll go to the other spots on the court. And then once I've done my job at closing the block, then my second job would be to hit.
So obviously every hitter you face on the opposing side is different, and their approach is different, their timing is different. So how hard is it for you to try to time that on the blocking end, and how long does it usually take you to kind of figure them out?
Well, you really try to focus on when they are jumping, and then you have to figure out if they're left-handed or right-handed to see which shoulder you want to go to. And then when I'm going my pin hitters, they tell me when to jump. They say ready, ready, up, which helps me. And then for my middles, I focus on them first, and then I have to watch if they're running a 3 or a slide. And then just my main thing would be to jump when they jump instead of following the ball.
Do you enjoy that? I mean, do you enjoy stuffing it right back at them?
Yeah, that's probably the best feeling in the game for me.
All right. Obviously, you're returning, so tell me what your feel is on the team this year.
Yeah, just like Mary said, it's a completely different feeling than I've had the past 2 years that I've played for varsity. Everyone really has a really good drive, and every single day at practice, we want to get something out of it and we want to learn. And this weekend at the tournament, we were there to play the teams and play good, and even though they were bigger than us and they've been ranked or 5A instead of 4A, we were there to get a win and to play and have competition.
So, and again, we talked to Coach Comfort about that, but that's good that you understand that, because going against teams like that and losing sometimes can deflate you a little bit, but it seems like it builds you guys up. You guys go in there and you're not afraid of them, first of all, and then you take a lot of good things out of there, win or lose.
Yeah, I agree. Even though we lost a couple matches this past weekend, we saw the things that we needed to work on, but we also had a lot of good things, and we focused on those, celebrated on those, and then once we get back to practice, I'm sure Coach has some drills that will work on what we need to work on.
Well, what are some of your well, I don't know if any drills are your favorite drills or not. What are some of the drills that you go through in practice that help you succeed?
Well, as a team overall, we work a lot on serve receive, which isn't necessarily my specific thing because I only play front row. And then some of the drills that help me would be hip block exchange, which is where I do a hit, or I go swing and then I go to a spot block, and it's very fast momentum to get me in shape and ready to block and close.
All right, and we talk about the amount of returners you have this year that have experience together on the floor, which is nice to have. But you've got a setter like Jolie Yang, and talk about what it's like to have her out there and just the communication and how you guys are on the same page, so to speak.
Yeah, so she's an amazing setter, and she takes feedback very well, and you can tell her hey, that was a little low, that was a little high, but she also. I'll ask her sometimes, hey, does this seem off because it's not really clicking today? And she is probably the hardest worker on the court because she will go for every single ball, even if it's on the other side of the court. She's working as hard as she can to get there.
All right. So what do you look forward to most this season?
I am hoping, and I think we will make it to state, and I think everyone on the team believes it, and so that is good.
All right. Well, that is an awesome goal to have, obviously, and for Oskaloosa volleyball to get back to Cedar Rapids would be tremendous, and it seems like we've got the group to do it. That's for sure. So, good luck to you as you go through the season. It's fun to watch you girls, and we'll see you Tuesday against DCG and several more times yet this year. So, good luck to you, and congratulations on the early success.
Thank you.
All right, that is Mary Nelson and Emily Richmond joining us here, members of the Oskaloosa volleyball squad. And again, you'll be hearing their names and reading their names a lot this season as we continue to cover the Oskaloosa volleyball program. More to come on the Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee after this.
This is more than a bundle. It's more than a combo deal. It's not just stuff. This is your home, your car, and you want to give them the protection they deserve with home and auto insurance. State Farm agents get it. It's why they're here.
Call State Farm agent Wendell Campbell at 641-673-4462.
Welcome back to the Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. I'm Jamie Brockman. We're going to talk Oskaloosa girls swimming as we're joined once again by Oskaloosa girls swimming coach Mackenzie Kaufman and one of the girls swimmers, Shannon Linder, joining us this week on the program. Ladies, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, as we were talking at the beginning of the show, pretty successful opening meet for your girls at Grinnell on Tuesday. I know in your comments you had mentioned, Mackenzie, that they kind of started off slow, but then they rebounded and finished pretty strong. So take us through that meet at Grinnell.
Yeah, so this was our second meet of this season, and the medley relay is always what starts out swim meets, and we got out and realized, oh, those weren't the best splits we've had. We had some difficulties on our turns and starts, so we regrouped, and by the next event, which was the 200 free, the girls were back in action, working on those things that we've spent time in practice going over, those turns, starts, those little technical things that make huge differences.
They do. I know swim meets that I've attended, you'll see a girl maybe right up there challenging for the lead, maybe leading, and then a bad turn, and all of a sudden you're behind the 8 ball.
Yep, they're right out of it, so they're super important.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about some of the first thing I want to ask you is, I know when my daughter swam, this term was used a lot too, but you'll hear like, oh, that was a fast pool or that was a slow pool. So what makes it fast or slow? I mean, it's a pool, so what makes the difference?
I think that's more of a mindset thing personally. You do always typically swim faster when it's colder, and the layout of the pool can make a difference. So Grinnell can be a fast pool, but I also think Grinnell, their pool, it doesn't have that deep end, so it's all straight along the bottom, and that can mess with your mind a little bit. You're not used to that, so that can feel a little slower sometimes. But that's more of a mindset thing, I think.
Sure. Well, speaking of fast, let's talk about Sydney Slocum. 27 seconds she shaved off of her 500 freestyle team time at Grinnell. I mean, that is impressive.
Yes, she came out smiling. She knew it. I think she could feel it. And that has been her goal from the start of the season, to go sub-7. I think she's done it once before last season. So now that we're there, we're just going to keep knocking it under and see just how far we can go.
And she shaved a little off her 200 free also.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then Mackenzie Hicks kind of backed that up. She took 19 seconds off of her 500 free time.
Yep, same thing there. She wanted to go sub-8, and now we're 10 seconds under that. So we're going to see if we can't get her down to the 7 mark as well.
Had a lot of PRs too in individual events like Sienna and Shannon and Ashley, all PRs.
Yep. They've done a great job. We stuck them in some new events at Grinnell to see where they were, and they really showed that well-rounded training, working on all of the strokes, not just one, has paid off.
So obviously coming out of that, the girls and yourself had to feel pretty good, a lot of confidence and smiles, I'm sure. So coming back to the pool then for practice, did you notice a difference in the girls after a performance like that?
They did a great job because we don't go easy after good meets like that. We had probably our toughest workout of the week that next day, but they came ready. They knew they could, and I think that's how they were able to accomplish that and conquer that really doozy of a workout.
So, again, I might have asked you this a few weeks ago, but what is the practice regimen, the routine? I mean, you've got all these different events. Some girls are sprinters, some girls are long race relay type people. So how do you go about a practice?
Well, we always have like our warm-up, cool-down. We usually throw in a kick set. I like to throw kick sets at the end when they're nice and tired because that's what's going to help strengthen our kicks. But my philosophy is, again, with the well-rounded swimmer. So we're not just having these two people doing a fly set, these two doing a backstroke set. They're all doing different sets of all the strokes. We all do distance sets. We all do sprint sets because each of those are going to make us better. You're going to be a better sprinter if you have more endurance. You're going to be able to outkick those girls at the end of a distance set if you have that sprinting capability. So that's kind of how I go about it.
So again, obviously the regimen is working. We're seeing times go down, which I know is a goal of yours. And we talked earlier in our preview of the swim team about some of your goals. So if you could just kind of update us on what your team goals are this year and what you want to see accomplished.
Sure. So we kind of have an immediate goal coming up on Monday. We swim at Fairfield. They have about 25 swimmers. To put in perspective, we have 15, but we are still going out there trying to win that meet. So that is our most immediate goal, and that's one of our big season goals, is to take our small but mighty team and make some noise, maybe win a couple duels, and right now Fairfield is what we're looking at.
Sure, and that's on Monday, so that's next up on the agenda, and then what comes up after that?
What comes up after Fairfield, we have a double meet, so we have a Monday-Tuesday meet the following week. I believe that's Indianola and Williamsburg. Yeah, Indianola and Williamsburg.
Okay, and then when we get into October, you've got that home meet.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know that's one that you're very excited about to get to swim at home. So, Mackenzie Kaufman, congratulations on a good start this year.
Thank
in
you.
In your first year as the head coach, and continued success to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we're going to talk now with Shannon Linder. She's a member of the girls swim team, and first of all, welcome, Shannon, and congratulations. Tell me what your experience is like as a swimmer on the Oskaloosa team.
This year, having Coach Kaufman, her first year head coaching, it's very exciting to have a new coach in the mix. I love the practices she sets up, and I think she's creating a good attitude for the team. I'm very excited to see what we can do this year.
Now, how long have you been swimming?
This is my 8th year swimming overall, and then I'm a sophomore, so my 2nd year on the high school team.
Okay, so only 2 years in high school. So previous 6 years then, like what kind of a youth program were you in, and how do people get involved in that so that they can eventually come up and be in this high school program?
So I swam with the YMCA for my first 6 years then. We had a lot of different coaches coming in the mix all for those 6 years, so it was very interesting. I got a lot of good experience. I think it costs around $220 to get in, and you have to have a YMCA membership, but there's no tryouts or anything. You just have to be able to swim 25. I think you can, it's like age 5 to 18 or something like that. So it's a great program to get into for just starting out.
And how much has that helped you now that you're at the high school varsity level?
It's been a great help just to get the experience, you know. We didn't have the toughest practices, but just learning the strokes and learning what a meet looks like, it's a great experience.
So I know a couple events anyway that you do, the 200 individual medley and the 100 backstroke. Tell me about those two events and the time and work that you put in to improve each time out.
So like Coach said, she likes to create well-rounded swimmers, and with the 200 IM, you actually swim every single stroke. So that's something that we've been working on. And then the 100 back, I just recently became a backstroker. I'd never done that before. And yeah, Coach is teaching me a lot, and I really enjoy those two events.
Now that is not an easy event, the backstroke. So how hard is that for you to learn, and how do you feel you're progressing in it?
It's very hard for the endurance. 100 yards is it's a sprint, but you know, by the end of it, you're getting very tired. So we've been working with endurance and things like that, and it's helping a lot.
So you were one of the athletes that we mentioned that had a couple PRs in that meet at Grinnell Tuesday. So how did you feel coming out of that?
Well, going into it, we had just had a 3-day weekend. I wasn't feeling my best, and then coming out of it, dropping a few seconds, just seeing the hard work paying off, it's a really great feeling.
And then as you go through the rest of the season, what goals do you have for yourself?
I'd love to just drop more time and feel my endurance, you know, get up there as the season goes on. I'm very excited to continue swimming those events and then getting some new events in there too.
Okay. And then overall, just what do you enjoy most about swimming and being a part of this program?
Honestly, I really love the team. We're really close and tight-knit, and just having 15 girls, it's really easy to get there. So
definitely. Yeah. Well, Shannon, congratulations on your success so far this
you.
season. Good luck to you as you continue, and we look forward to watching you not just this year, but 2 years more after this. All right, that is Shannon Linder. She's one of the members of the Oskaloosa girls swim team, and also Oskaloosa girls swim coach Mackenzie Kaufman joining us here on this week's edition of Indians Corner, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. We'll be back with more coming up.
Hy-Vee's Choice Reserve and Prime Reserve beef, arguably the best beef in America. Their quality and flavor are undisputable, undeniable. Let's get ready to be unstoppable! Decision.
Welcome back to Indians Corner here on the Indians Network, presented by Wendell Campbell, State Farm, and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. Well, we appreciate all the coaches joining us again this week, as they do each and every week. Thanks to Oskaloosa assistant coach and offensive coordinator Brett Dowd. Also, a couple of the football boys joining us today. The brothers, Isaac and Will Schultz, on the program. Big thanks to Mackenzie Kaufman, the girls swimming coach, for coming in. And she brought Shannon Linder with her, and one of her swimmers. And then, of course, Oskaloosa volleyball coach Jennifer Comfort. And we talked with Mary Nelson and Emily Richmond from the team. And big thanks to Mike Comfort, the Oskaloosa girls and boys cross-country coach, for joining us today as well. Coming up in the next week, a lot more activities to get out and support for Oskaloosa. Get out and show your support and cheer the teams on to victory. Of course, coming up on Tuesday night, as we said, Oskaloosa volleyball is home against DCG, Dallas Center Grimes, and we'll have the varsity match live on the Indians Network on Tuesday evening, with pre-match coverage starting around 6:40. First serve scheduled for 7 o'clock at Oskaloosa High School gym. Friday night, we hit the road again, take the show on the road to Fairfield, as Oskaloosa football looks to bounce back and get a big win at Fairfield on Friday night. We'll have coverage with the pregame at 7 o'clock and kickoff at 7:30 right here on the Indians Network on Friday night. And then next week, looking forward, volleyball home again on Tuesday the 17th against Newton. Well, you'll be able to watch that match live on the Indians Network. And then, of course, football returns home in week 4. And 5, actually. Week 4, they'll be hosting Norwalk, and then week 5 will be homecoming against Grinnell. And, of course, you can watch Indians football every Friday night right here on the Indians Network. So we hope you enjoyed the show today, and we hope you enjoy watching Indian sports if you can't be there in the stands to support them that way all season long. So big thanks to Ken Alsup on the camera controls and the production side of things today from Oski News. Also thanks to all of our partners on the Indians Network, MCG, Oski News, and Thunder Country KIIC, as well as the OVP, Oskaloosa Video Production Class, and Oskaloosa Community High School. We will be back with another edition of Indians Corner next week right here on the Indians Network, presented by Wendell Campbell State Farm and Oskaloosa Hy-Vee. Until then, I'm Jamie Brockman. Thanks for watching. Go Indians!